In the heart of the land of Pars, where mountains and plains had witnessed the rise and fall of many tribes, a man was born whose name would later mark the beginning of one of the greatest dynasties in history. He was Hakhamanish, the man who led the Persians from the shadows into the light. On a quiet night, among the simple yet sturdy tents of the Persians, a woman held a newborn in her arms. The silence of the night was broken only by the occasional sound of the wind and the soft whispers of people gathered around the fire. The child's father, a strong and battle-hardened man, stood beside his wife, looking at the infant with pride. "This boy will one day become a leader who will make our name eternal," the man's voice echoed through the tents. The mother, with an exhausted smile, caressed the child. "What will you name him?" The man looked up at the sky. The stars shone in silence, as if they had already written the child's destiny among them. Hakhamanish, a name that will be remembered in history. Years passed, and the fragile little child grew into a strong and intelligent boy. Unlike other boys in the tribe who relied only on physical strength, Hakhamanish sought knowledge. He learned from the elders of the tribe that a warrior does not fight only with his sword, but also defeats his enemies with wisdom and strategy. The wise old man of the tribe, who had watched over him since childhood, once told him, "Strength and the sword alone are not enough, Hakhamanish. If you wish to save your people, you must understand that true power lies in wisdom." Hakhamanish, who was practicing sword fighting in the training field, paused for a moment and thought about the elder's words. "But isn't a warrior supposed to win on the battlefield?" The old man smiled. "A great commander is one who secures victory before the battle even begins." At that moment, Hakhamanish realized that to build a better future, he needed more than just strength. Several years later, when he had grown into a powerful and wise young man, an event occurred that would change his destiny and that of his tribe. On a dark night, the sound of warning bells echoed through the camp. Shadows moved in the darkness, and riders approached at great speed. A hostile tribe had decided to wipe out the Persians. The armed men quickly prepared for battle, but everyone knew that the enemy had a greater number. Amidst the murmurs of the warriors, the elders of the tribe gathered for an urgent discussion. "If we fight, we will be slaughtered. They are stronger than us," one of the elders said anxiously. Another shook his head. "We must flee, we have no other choice." But Hakhamanish, who had been standing in the corner, stepped forward and spoke with a firm voice. "If we flee, we will live in fear forever. But if we fight and use our intelligence, we can win." A murmur spread among the elders. One of them, still doubtful, asked, "But how?" Hakhamanish smiled. "Let the night be our greatest ally." He devised a plan in which the Persians would silently approach the enemy through hidden paths and ambush them at a moment they least expected. As dawn broke over the plains of Pars, the enemy was in full retreat. The Persians, who had fought using Hakhamanish's brilliant strategy, stood victorious. One of the elders, looking at Hakhamanish with admiration, placed a hand on his shoulder. "Today, we have learned that you are not just a warrior but a wise commander." After this victory, Hakhamanish's name spread among the tribes. Other tribes, tired of oppression, joined him one by one. Instead of waging war against them, he formed alliances, and for the first time, he united all the scattered Persian tribes. On the day when the tribes gathered, he stood atop a hill and spoke in a voice that carried across the vast lands. "Today, we are no longer scattered tribes. From this day forward, we are one nation, and this nation shall be eternal in the name of Pars." The people, who until that moment had always been divided by wars and conflicts, shouted with passion, "Long live Pars, long live Hakhamanish." And so, the first foundations of the Achaemenid Empire were laid. Years passed, and now an older Hakhamanish stood atop a hill, gazing over the lands he had united. He was no longer just a leader, but the father of a nation. Hakhamanish, not with the sword, but with wisdom, unity, and courage, laid the foundation of the first Persian Empire. After him, the generations that followed carried on this path and turned the Achaemenid Empire into one of the greatest civilizations in the world.